you can kind of start to get settled. Friends, Rotarians, countrymen, of course I did it again. Friends, Rotarian guests, welcome to the July 21st meeting of the Rotary Club of Louisville. I'm Walt Kuno and you're not, President of the club and Paul Harris Fellow. I'm pleased to have you all here. First, we got to do some housekeeping. So if you got your phones, make sure they're silenced. And if you got your ticket, which I don't, and you want lunch, please put it at your table and they'll know that you get served lunch today. So, with that, I would like to welcome Steve Jester, pastor of Second Presbyterian Church, and Paul Harris Fellow to the podium for our invocation.
You are so tall. Thank you, President Walt. Let us be in prayer together. Holy One, we thank you. We thank you that you're witnesses. Through them you call us again and again not to be afraid. You call us to trust you with our very lives. And yet we are often afraid. Afraid of the powers of darkness in our lives and in this world. Afraid of the forces of destruction that are so unexpected and random. Thank you, O God, for those who are called to protect and to reassure us. Those called to respond to the madness of violence that seems to fill our lives and threaten the most vulnerable among us. Grant us wisdom, grant us courage, grant us hope because of your love that never fails, that love and care that we know through one another. In your holy name we ask it. Amen.
Amen.
And now to the podium strolls my friend Larry Sloan. We got to be here for a minute. He's going to do the pledge and four-way test. He's owner of Larry Sloan Sales Company. He's Rotary of the Year 2019, major donor, Paul Harris Society person, and all-around good guy. Thank you, Larry.
Well, thank you, Tall Walt. I appreciate that. Thank you. Please, let's recite our Pledge of Allegiance together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
States
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And let us now say the things that guide us in our thoughts and work. The four-way test. Number one, is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
All right, y'all can be seated, and lunch will be here shortly. It's always our pleasure, my pleasure, to welcome all our guests, and it looks like we've got a room full today. Rotarians, please make your way to the microphone in the back left corner of the room and introduce yourself first and then your guest. Rest, if you'd like to learn more about our club, please join Craig Sherman. Where's Craig? Is he here yet? Craig will be over here at What is Rotary table after the meeting. I would like to start off by introducing my guest, Alan Leuven. If Alan would please stand here at the front table. Alan came to Louisville from St. Louis as an FBI agent and is now retired. We go to church together and we're friends, and I know he's one of the 2 or 3 friends I have. So, but glad Alan's here. Thank you. 2.
Thank you, President Wall, fellow Rotarians. My name is Michael Brumley. I'd like to introduce my guest. His name is Patrick Broderick. Patrick, if you could stand up. He is president and founder of Valiant Construction and an officer of the United States Army who served in Iraq.
President Walt, Tom Crimmins here. I'd like to introduce my guest, Paul Cox. Paul is the owner of Team Logic IT and is interested in Rotary.
My name is Josh Suter. My guest today is Elizabeth Cleary, the Chief Operating Officer for the Chamber of St. Matthews.
Hello, my name is Willie Billingsley III. My guest is Willie Billingsley Jr., my father, which is the owner of Budget Services and Supply, LLC, and also a 20-year retired Marine.
Hello, my guest is not here yet. They'll be sitting at the table near the door. Matthew Harrell Sr. is President and CEO of APK Development and Construction, an acquisition and development real estate company in Louisville. He's also a member of the Louisville Association Housing Affordable Trust Board, which allocates millions of dollars annually for housing development. And he served as the chair of the African American Initiative Housing Committee and is the past vice president of the Louisville chapter of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers and national president of United Developers Council of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers.
Thank you. I'd like to see his business card.
Hello, President Walt, Craig Mooney. I have 3 guests with me today. My mother and father, Hal and Linda Mooney, founders of Verno's Pizza locally. I'm getting questions back here. Where's the pizza? It's coming. I also have my sister, Lisa Chandler, former owner of the Verno's in Jeffersontown. Thank you.
I'll take a pepperoni. And President Wall, Greg Braun here. My guest is he's been to Rotary before, and now he's started a business, so now it's the perfect time to join the club. Lucas Moss, who owns a Healthy Assets Integrative Services. Please welcome Lucas.
President Walt, Sharon Riemann with Old National Bank. I'd like to introduce my guest, Jamie Hernandez. She's with Mid-Southern Bank and she's a Business Development Officer. President Walt, fellow Rotarians and distinguished guests, my guest today is Miss Devon Hankins. She is president and founder of Ascension Strategies, as well as Devon and I serve together on the Board of Trustees of the Kentucky College of Art and Design. Thank you.
President Walt, Barney Sutton. I have 2 guests. Victoria Douglas, a recent graduate from University of Alabama. She started her career with PNC Bank. My second guest is James Roth. His father, Tom Roth, has been a long-time member of our club. And James is going to be leaving us at the end of this month and going to Seattle and working for the Department of Defense for the Navy.
I think I just counted 11 Rotarians bringing 17 guests. Thank you all. This is exciting. It is exciting. Now I want y'all to give yourselves a round of applause when I finish this, because we exceeded our goal for the annual fund of Rotary International, $55,646. That's 111% of our goal. And it's an average of $125 per member. To be a star club in Rotary, which we have been a star club as far as anybody in this room can remember, it takes $100 a year per member. So we have far exceeded that. The real issue is, without your donations, the work of Rotary does not go on. For example, polio, 1987, 350,000 cases. Today, polio is almost eliminated. It's endemic in only two countries, and by the year 2026, it will be eliminated. This wouldn't happen if it weren't for you. And there's so many other projects that we do in Louisville and around the world that take your money, and you ought to feel proud about being in Rotary and being part of the solution to some of the world's most terrible problems. So thank you all. Give yourselves a round of applause. More to follow on this. We need to get this done automatically. We keep hearing about this. We're going to have a little session, one meeting for a few minutes. But if you need any help with getting this done automatically, see Deline. And now I'm happy to turn the podium over today to today's announcer, our new Executive Director, Deline Taylor. And for those of you that have not met Deline, because you're just now getting the back of the habit, here is the face to the name. Please introduce yourself. She will put you to work for one, but it's always good work. And if you don't come say hello to her, she's going to come say, why not to you? No, not really. Anyway, Deline.
Hello, everybody. I will say that if you say hello to me on a meeting day, I probably won't remember, just because it's a little crazy. But I would like to meet all of you. You've got my cell phone, so call, text me, say hello. I would love to have a chance to say hi to each of you. And I'm not sure how long you can use the term new, because I started in November or so, but it still feels new to me. All right. We have some Rotarians in the spotlight. And I apologize, we have a gremlin in this room, and it only happens while we're in a live meeting. So we haven't figured it out yet, but thank you for your patience. All right, so I will go ahead. Jackie Jones, new Rotarian. Jackie, where are you? Was commissioned a Kentucky Colonel by Governor Gitschier in recognition of her noteworthy accomplishments and outstanding service to our community, state, and nation. Congratulations, Jackie. And congratulations to Rick Smith. I don't know if he's here today. For being selected to lead the Kentucky Healthcare Workforce Collaborative, which is a $10 million initiative funded by the legislature to bring together state leaders, policy experts, campus leadership, and the healthcare industry to solve Kentucky's healthcare crisis. And very relevant to today's topic, mass shooting survivor and Rotarian Whitney Austin, founder of Whitney Strong, campaigned for the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act in Washington, which was passed into legislation recently. I don't know if you can see because it's kind of small, but at the bottom is her personal invitation to an event with President Biden. I don't think it was actually dinner. I think it was just an event on the lawn. And she also made the front page of the Courier-Journal, so check that out. She couldn't be with us here today. She is traveling out of town, but when you see her, congratulate her on all the work she's doing and ask how you can be a part of it. And now it's the Where's Waldo portion of our meeting. So there are 4 Rotarians on this screen who have been accepted or selected for the 44th Leadership Louisville class. So one of them was Whitney Austin. We also had Fifth Third's Kim Hallbauer, Bellman's Dr. Jess Metzmeyer, and Dr. Swanee Jett. And is any of those people here today? I don't think so, but congratulations. I feel like we're well represented on Leadership Louisville. Well, the gremlin ate one of my pictures. Not sure how that happened. Okay, so did you know that you can view our member roster and photos, our meeting and event calendar, birthdays, committees, and much more on your mobile device? You can even send emails to your committees from your device. It's really easy. There's a QR code in Sparks to scan, or there's a link you can click on. If you need help, let me know, but I have found it to be really handy while I'm on the go. All right, you can scan the link in this week's Sparks. All right, we're down to the final days to reserve your tickets to the Louisville City Football Club game on August 13th against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. This will be a competitive game on the pitch, and there are a number of special things happening that night. First, our club has the Rabbit Hole Corner Bar from 6:30 to 7:30. If you have season tickets, you're welcome to come by and join us before the game. Louisville City is also giving away t-shirts, posters, and fan clappers while supplies last, and there are fireworks after the game. Additionally, it is the first ever blackout. They're asking everyone to wear black shirts. There are only a few tickets left, so if you've been thinking about it, please act fast. Again, the link's in Sparks. And finally, Rotary Golf is back. Cliff, where's Cliff? All right, and if you're on our social committee, would you raise your hand? All right, so join us at Glen Oaks Country Club on Monday, September 26th for a buffet lunch at 11:30, and the first tee time is at 12:30. You can register as an individual, a pair, a threesome, or foursome. Cost is $50 per player, and $15 each is required as a deposit when you register. Watch for the link in Sparks, and if you would like to sponsor prizes, please see Cliff or a member of the social committee. Thank you very much. Back to you, Walt.
Thank you, Delene. Almost everything that you heard from Delene is in your Sparks. Please read it. Better yet, read it, find somebody you think would be a potential Rotary member, and send it to them. Now it is my pleasure to bring to the stage Dan Hartlich, Principal at Guthrie Mays Public Relations, and new Board of Directors at your club. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you all. I get the honor of introducing our speaker for today. I met Greg Gitschier about 3 years ago. I don't claim to know him that well, but every time I see him or think of him or I see him on television, the same thing always comes to mind: beer. And I can explain that. I'll explain that. That's because when I think of his work and his background and his life experiences and his professional experiences, he's like the guy in the beer commercial, the most interesting man in the world. As I go through this, you may agree, and we may have a beer after lunch. But sadly today, Greg's going to be talking about what we need to know and some things we might need to be doing in order to keep ourselves safe in public settings. Greg's background is he's a Louisville native, was an EMT and a police officer for 11 years here in Louisville, a Secret Service agent for more than 20, was a bodyguard for Mayor Fisher at one time. He was assigned to protect full-time President Reagan and his family. He also was assigned to 5 other presidents over the years, and a whole bunch of different heads of state, ranging from the Queen of England to Pope John Paul II. Greg now has a security consultant business, and he provides consulting services to businesses and schools and churches, and he performs vulnerability assessments to help clients assess and prepare for an active shooter situation. Greg was previously the security chair with 8 major PGA events, both locally and nationally, and helped plan security for the inaugural Breeders' Cup in Keeneland a few years ago. He's attended 3 Olympic Games as a security planner and as an escort for senior NBC executives. His work has taken him to 60 or more than 60 countries over the years. And by the way, Greg is also an ordained Catholic deacon and an author. He wrote a book about his experiences, his professional experiences, and it's called The Sneakin' Deacon. I've actually read the book. It's a fun and fascinating book, and proceeds for the book go to the Kids Cancer Alliance. So Today will be a little bit maybe unsettling, maybe a little bit of a sobering conversation, but to lead us through that conversation is Greg Gitschier.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure being here. I've run into a high school classmate, somebody that I performed their wedding, Patrick, and a gentleman that helped me get started in the police department, Hal Mooney over there, so it's kind of interesting to, Louisville's not that big. I know Barbara Sexton Smith's back here, when I used to hang around Greg Fisher for 5 years, and Barbara was always around doing wonderful work, so it's a pleasure. The subject is not a great subject, but it's something when companies ask me to come out and talk to their factories or corporate headquarters or schools or churches, it's usually an hour-long topic. So this is 20 minutes, so I'm going to hit the top, hit the important matters, and certainly I'll be around to ask questions too. But I do want to thank Dan. Dan's persistence. He first talked to me before this thing called COVID hit, and he's been staying with me since COVID to come here and talk. So thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate your professionalism, and if you ever want to come with the Kids Cancer Alliance, we could use you on the board of directors there too. I don't want to steal from you guys though. So head on a swivel. So a Secret Service agent, we were taught that constantly. Head on a swivel, which means always be aware of your surroundings. Okay, always be aware of your surroundings. So they just trained that into our heads, and they put us in scenarios, and whether we're at the White House or a residence or at an airport or traveling in a motorcade, we always had to be aware of your surroundings. One of the official words they use is situational awareness. Some people think that gets overused nowadays, but actually is incredibly important. So head on a swivel, situational awareness is basically the same. So unfortunately, these things right here kind of take away our situational awareness, right? I was picking up my daughter from the UK not too long ago, and I was sitting in the parking lot, in a dark parking lot, waiting her to graciously bring out her dirty laundry so we can come home and take care of that. And I'm sitting there, I know it sounds creepy, but I'm in my car, minding my own business, dark parking lot, could not believe how many people had their face in the phone with earbuds in, walking across campus, having no idea of what's coming up along them, behind them, or wherever, okay? So they do not have situational awareness, and that is very concerning. When you come to a red light, look over how many people have their heads dropped down looking at their phones. I applaud them for not answering text messages while you're driving 60 miles an hour or more, but not paying attention like that makes you very vulnerable if somebody's going to attack you. So head on a swivel, situational awareness, okay? I'm going fast, I know. The next thing I want to mention is check your surroundings. What does that mean? Well, when you walk across the parking lot, whether it's now or at night, or you're leaving work late or coming in early, be aware of your surroundings. You have to, we used to ask the question in the Secret Service, what if? What if I'm here in this hotel in Bangkok, Thailand at 3:15 in the morning and the stairwell's busted open and two guys are coming down with guns? What if that happened? What would I do? So those what if questions trained us. If our motorcade was attacked, or if an explosion went off, or shots rang out. So I try to encourage people. We don't live in Mayberry anymore, y'all. If you haven't noticed that, this is not Mayberry. So we have to be constantly aware of our surroundings and ask yourself, what if? Now that applies to going to a child or grandchild sporting event, inside, outside, going to a movie, a concert, coming here to this nice restaurant. Wherever you're going, just pay attention to what's going on around you. You go into a movie theater, where are you going to sit? If you have that option, near the exit doors? Or are you going to sit way up top in the middle? If something happened, and we know things have happened in movie theaters, what do you want to run down to where the gunman is? There's a lot of things going on. So I don't care where you're going, you need to be aware of the exit doors and figure out how you would get there, especially if the lights go out. We're not used to lights going black because generators are supposed to kick on. So we have lights on our phone, but you always constantly have to have a what-if scenario going on. What would we do if right now we heard an explosion in the building rock? Which door? There's an exit door. There's an exit door. If we go down, we don't want to go down the elevator in an emergency, right? So I'm just saying, you're constantly asking yourself, be aware of your surroundings. What if something happens? What would I do? How would I get my family out safe? okay? So this thing, this has to become part of our lives. It costs nothing but a few moments of your time. Where are you going to park your car, in the parking lot if you have to leave there by yourself at night or come in early in the morning at your place of business? So all of those things matter. So the other thing I want to hit on real quick is what companies hired me for, active shooter training. Difficult subject, but we see it on the news every night. I mean, almost every night, unfortunately. People always say, well, I never thought this would happen here. Maybe in LA or New York, two places I lived actually. But I never thought it would happen here in this town. But it does happen. It happens in schools and churches and businesses. So the basic rule in my 20-minute talk is if something happens, you hear gunshots. Number one, don't talk yourself out of, oh, that couldn't have been gunshots. It must have been balloons. Exactly what happened at the Kroger's here in J-Town a few years ago. The shooting started at the Kroger's, remember that, right? People said, oh, that must have been the balloons breaking up front of the Kroger's. The balloons popped. They talked themselves out of reacting. Sometimes in these critical incidents, you literally have moments to react correctly, okay? So once again, we go back to that what if. What if this happens? What would I do? The options in an active shooter situation, in my opinion, is first is run if you can run, okay? Number one, if you can run, get out. But be careful where you're running to and who you're running into, right? In schools, there's terrible shooting in the South Florida area. He pulled the fire exit, hoping people would come out the fire exit so he could shoot them. Because he went to that school. Fortunately, pure luck, they just had a fire drill right before that, a couple hours, and people were like, that can't be another fire drill the same day. But the point is, you have to know where you're running to. So if you can run, run. Okay, and get away. Do not stop in the parking lot and be the first person to put it on social media. Okay? You hear a lot about AR-15s, right? AR-15 is the civilian version of a military M16, right, Captain? But how far can those shoot? If you don't mind me asking you, about how far can they go accurately? 300 yards. At least 300 yards, right? At least 300 yards. So you need to get away from that building you're running out of, okay, and get behind something to protect you. That gun can shoot a long way very accurately. All right? So the point is, if the first thing you can do, run. Help people to come along with you, fine. If they don't want to come along, that's their choice. Don't stay there and get hurt. If they don't refuse to come along. I tell the Kroger managers, I've spoken to the Kroger managers about this several times. So run is your first option. If you can't run, then you hide. I just did a school here last week. And we looked at the classroom. There's a lot of glass, which makes me nervous. But if you can hide in your classroom, barricade the door, do that. Okay, barricade the door. Turn your cell phones off. You don't want your phone going off with a ringtone when somebody's maybe looking. The whole idea of an active shooter is he comes in, or whoever comes in, and if they can't get in the room, they normally move on. They're not going to sit there in one room, banging on the door, kicking in the door, wasting bullets into a doorknob, so they move on. So you want to make yourself hidden and protected as well as possible. I talked to this school last week. You need to get inside locks on the doors, or at least the little stoppers. Something in there to give these people a chance to go hide with the lights out. So number one is run, of course. Number two is hide, best you can. I told the people at the grocery store, go back in the freezer, go back in the boss's office, go in the storeroom, lock the doors, whatever you got to do. Once the shooting starts, the 911 calls go out. Okay? The 911 calls are going out. Trust me, the cavalry is coming. Every police officer, federal agent, state trooper, on duty or off duty, uniformed detective, when that call goes out, active shooter at such and such location, we are all coming with a lot of guns. We will be there. We will be there. I know it's an unfortunate situation in Texas. I'm not going to talk about that right now and play Monday morning quarterback. But every time I've been involved in these drills, we go in as soon as we get there. We don't wait for anyone. If we go in by ourselves, we go in by ourselves. But so I'm challenging you to stay alive until the cavalry can get there. We are coming, and we're coming as fast as we can. So anything you can do to detain that gunman from finding you or hurting you, that's what you have to do by running or hiding the best you can, okay? The last of the three is fight. Maybe you all are comfortable about fighting somebody with a gun or a weapon. I understand that. But what are your choices if they are coming in that room? You can beg for your life. That's your option. That's not one I would suggest. You can beg for your life, see what happens. If they're already in there killing people, do you think they're going to stop for you because you're begging for your life? Maybe. I don't think so, but that's just me. So you got to fight. So you get who's ever in that room, you bolster them up, you get together, and you scramble, and you want to rush the guy, okay, or girl. You just get together and you hit them with, throw hot coffee on them. My favorite fire extinguisher. You know where the fire extinguishers are. Imagine getting shot in the face by a foam fire extinguisher and then hit over the head with a metal canister. That could stop you, right? So I'm just saying fire extinguishers make great self-defense weapons. But if you can get whoever's in that room with you and to fight them, because they want you to beg for your life. They want to be in that position of power where you are begging. I just taught 10 graduating high school girls this week a self-defense course for college, because I like to give them the information to protect themselves if they get in a terrible situation. I said, these guys that assault women sexually or physically, they want you to beg. They want to feel strong and powerful. You're begging for your life. But if you fight back and you hurt them and keep hurting them until you can get away, that catches those people off guard. So it's the same thing with fighting in an active shooter situation. You can sit there and beg and ask them, or you can fight and fight with everyone you can, help out. I hope that makes sense to you. I know it might make you uncomfortable, but if you can get a group together, that throws the guy off, or that throws that person off, because they don't expect that kind of stuff. Any weapon you can grab to protect yourself, grab it. Coffee pot, chair, whatever it takes. Use whatever you have to do. Okay, I'm trying to move very quickly here. So vehicles. We spent a lot of time in vehicles. I already talked about situational awareness. Check around you. Have your keys ready to open up your car. Don't open your car up too early if somebody's close by on the other side, passenger side. Right? When you walk up to your car, look in the back seat. Make sure no one's back there hiding. As you pull out, and if there's something on your back windshield or window, like a $20 bill or $10 bill, there's probably a reason that's there, and that's because somebody wants you to stop and get out of the car, and then you're very vulnerable to an attack. So be careful about something weird being taped to the back window that you see backing out, or your side window. If somebody, when you pull up to a car at a red light, stop sign, whatever, don't pull right up on their bumper, right next to them, because you need to leave yourself a way out if somebody comes running up to your door, right? So I said get your keys ready, open your door, lock it immediately so nobody can come right up on you. When you pull up, leave space in front of you whenever you got to stop. If somebody comes up, you can go left or right and escape, okay? It's very basic. If somebody bumps you, all right, first reaction is you get out and look at your bumper. However, we've been having a lot of problems with that, not only just in Louisville, but around the country, of people hitting you, not really hard, but hitting you so you get out, and then somebody steals your car as you're out looking at your bumper. So you can always motion maybe somebody to come over. A lot of people say, oh, well, if that happened to me, or somebody's trying to pull me over, I know who they were, I'm going to go to the local police station. Well, you know what? I'm a police chaplain for 4 police departments here in the Louisville area. There's not that many police officers at the station at night. They're all out working, and we're very short of officers anyway. So, we're not getting the response times that we hope we get. So I say go to a gas station. Do you have any idea how many cameras are at a Thornton gas station? The number's like 30 plus. So go somewhere where there's people and there's cameras that you can maybe do a switch driver's license if there is an accident report. Just be very careful of people trying to get you out of that car and being very vulnerable. Brooke, how am I doing on time, Dan? Am I doing okay? How many more minutes? What do you got for me?
20.
Yeah. Okay, so carjacked. That's another problem we have here. If your car gets carjacked or somebody pulls a weapon on you, okay, I'm not going to tell you, is that car worth you getting hurt or your life? I would say no. I have insurance. Get another car, right? So I would always say put your safety first. If somebody walks up and says, get out of the car, or tries to take your car, whatever. If you can hold on to your phone, that's a good thing, right? If you can hold on to it, then you can call the police or they drive away. If you can hold on to your car keys, even better, right? Because most of these fobs, they're going to start dinging, hey, you don't have a key fob in this car, and that car is only going to be good for a certain period before if you stop, you can't start it again. So I know that's kind of a lot to think about, but if you can hold on to either or both of those things, good stuff. If your phone stays in the car, then of course you could track it if they keep it in there. Find My Phone, right? If we have kids, like I have 3, I track them on Find My Phone to see if they're going where they said they were going. Yes, I'm not the easiest dad in the world, I admit it. My daughter actually took the self-defense class and she did awesome, so I'm very proud of her. Anyway, so, think about the phone though, but give up that phone. You don't ever want to get hurt in that phone. And let's go to our homes real quick. So a lot of people ask, what can I do to make my home safer? Remember what I told you about, the shooter, if it's what we call the Secret Service, a hard target. We want to make we're protecting a president, or vice president, or world leader, and we want to bunker down into a hard target so it makes it very hard to attack. So if your home has a burglar alarm on it where you have a little sign or not, motion lights, I love motion lights, they are so cheap, and you can do solar now, right? So if somebody walks through the side of your house or backyard, my motion lights come on. And that's a little startling for someone who's maybe trying to commit a crime. All right, I have cameras. You don't all have to buy cameras, but they've come down so much in price now, they're very affordable. So I do have cameras, Ring doorbells, or a cheaper version. You see on the internet, these people coming up to doors and stealing packages or whatever. So any of those things give you extra protection around your house. And criminals can see the motion detector lights, the cameras, the Ring doorbell, and maybe I'll just move on down the street to somebody else, okay? So you got to make your home a little bit more challenging. Now, question I get a lot. I was in Secret Service, I was a firearms instructor, which means that my job was to keep the Secret Service agents sharpen their skills for shooting. So when I retired, I started doing carry conceal instructor here in the state of Kentucky. People used to say, yeah, I'm going to take that carry conceal license and learn how to shoot really good. I got news for you. You take that course, it's 95% sitting there listening to somebody talk or video, and maybe 5% of shooting. You can miss the target from 7 yards 9 times and still get your carry conceal permit. 9 times you can miss that whole target and still get your permit. So it does not teach you how to shoot. As an instructor, I wasn't allowed to teach how to shoot. All I had to do is see if the gun looked operable and then say, okay, you got 20 shots, you got to hit it 11 times. So, if you make the choice to get a weapon, it's totally your choice. Make sure you do several things, and I told every class I taught this. Make sure you get the right gun for you, make sure you train with it, and most importantly, make sure you have a safe to keep it in. Okay? You can't hide a handgun under your sweaters, because that's where you always hid your kids' Christmas presents that they found every year, right? You have to have a good, safe place to hide that weapon, because there's kids, grandkids, friends, too much chances of something terrible happening, people breaking in, whatever. So make sure if you buy a gun, you buy safe. I don't care if it's a big one, 4-1, small one, just buy safe. And please, please, please don't leave your gun unattended in a car. Most criminals, the police, the detectives are telling me, come out of stolen guns stolen in the east end of Louisville where people just leave it under the seat. Right? Who's ever going to think about looking under the seat, right? Leave it under the seat. Glove box, that's another good place to disguise. Or you pop the trunk open and it's next to the spare tire. Don't leave a gun in a car. If you're going to make the decision to buy a gun, keep it with you at all times. I know you can't go into a courthouse or school or any building that says no firearms allowed. You have to respect them, carry, conceal, or not, which we don't have anymore, by the way, in the state. But you got to think ahead of time. You do not want to leave a loaded weapon in the gun because that's where so many people get hurt with those. Finishing up here, when I traveled, I retired with 2 million frequent flyer miles. That doesn't count all the free rides the Air Force was nice enough to give me. I spent a lot of time in the airplane seat. We went through a lot of schools, training, evacuation. Know this, that when you get on that plane, count the seats, how many seats to the exit door, front or back or middle. It's very important to know that because if something bad happens, okay, and you have a forced landing or a crash or anything like that, and you have to get out of that airplane, and that airplane is full of smoke, or there's no lights, emergency lights failed to come on, or you're upside down, it is awful nice to know how many seats you got to go to hit that door, okay? Don't go down the aisle, go down the side of the plane, hopping over seats, okay? I'm just telling you, these are things that we did with the military and that we learned how to get out of a bad situation. That same topic goes to hotel rooms. The little map on the back of a hotel door, right? We've all seen it. Have we really looked at it? How many doors is it down to the exit door, left or right? Because at 3:30 in the morning when the alarm goes off and you smell the smoke, and you check that door to see how hot it is, and you open it up and you can't see anything. It's really nice where you're crawling, where oxygen is on the bottom, crawling 3 doors, and you feel the doors and go down those stairs to survive, okay? Little tips like that can go a long way. When my wife and daughter travel, I get a door stopper for them that they can put behind the door, because hotel keys have a way of being lost or manipulated. So they always had one of those door stoppers that had a little alarm on it if somebody tried to come in the middle of the night. Last thing, I know I'm about done here, so last thing I was going to mention is hostage situations. So this is what I teach the girls going off to college. If somebody pulls a weapon of some sort on you and says, get in the car, get in the van, get in the truck, I don't care if they have a knife, a bat, a gun, you have to make a decision right then and there. If you get in that van or get in that truck or trunk, the chances of people like me and in my line of work finding you have been reduced drastically. Because if they have any intelligence at all, they're going to take your phone and throw it. So we can't track your phone anymore. They're going to tie you up, tape you up, whatever, and take you to some God knows where place, right? So I suggest, number one, if you can't fight, run like crazy. I mean, run zigzag. I tell the girls, run zigzag and screaming for help, screaming fire, whatever you got to do. Because I've seen all these people that couldn't hit a target at 7 yards standing still. Chances are, unless they're a military sharpshooter, they're probably not going to hit you running away as fast as you can, zigzagging, screaming for help, right? So I suggest not to get in that car, not to get in that trunk. You know, have a higher chance of survival if you can run, all right? So that's just my suggestion. I can't guarantee you everything that would happen, you know, but you have to, you know, you have to be fearful and you have to be aware of things. So in conclusion, situational awareness, head on a swivel, look around. I don't care if you're going to a kid's high school game or you're going to a concert or, you know, wherever you're at, you always should be aware of the exit rows and who's around you and what you would do, what if, right? What if something happens? Explosion, gunshots, whatever, okay? Thank you.
Rotarians, please make your way to the microphone in the back. While you're making your way there, I have a couple of questions. So Whitney Austin from Whitney Strong couldn't be here today. She apologized for that, but she gave me a couple of questions I wanted to ask our speaker, Greg. Whitney from Whitney Strong directly lobbied Senator McConnell and other U.S. senators for the passage of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. This is the first piece of legislation to decrease gun violence in nearly 30 years. Can you tell the audience which components of the bill you believe will have the greatest impact on reducing mass violence?
Did she put what the bill, did she list what the bills are? Or?
No, the bill was the Safer Communities Act. The one that just got signed.
Okay, well, I probably don't know all the details of that, so I don't want to act like I do. I can tell you, I get asked this question a lot because I'm clergy, I'm half cop, I'm half clergy, but I believe in the right to defend yourself. So one thing I always say in my class is, I also teach a simunition course where people that are advanced and don't want to punch holes in paper, we can actually go into a live situation, shoot little paint bullets at each other in a safe environment, trust me. But I always tell people that if you have to use force, any attorney is going to tell you that the key is, I was in fear of my life. If you are in fear of losing your life, you should be able to defend yourself. And I'm sorry, I don't know all the ins and outs of that bill. So I think you have a right to carry that gun. I talked about the responsibilities of carrying that gun. But if you're in fear of losing your life, then you're allowed to defend yourself. And and that's just the basic rule.
She has a second one, I think, that you will be able to answer. So, red flag laws are growing in popularity as evidenced by the 19-plus states with one in the recent passage of this Safer Communities Act that included $750 million for states to better support the implementation of these laws. Kentucky does not have one currently, but Whitney Strong continues to champion this effort through the bipartisan team of senators in Frankfort. Until that effort can be successful, what do you recommend everyday citizens do when they have contact someone intent on harming themselves or others with a firearm?
Okay. She's tough. She's pretty tough, yeah.
Whitney was shot 12 times.
Oh, we're talking about the same lady this year before. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't put the connection. My mistake. My apologies. Yes, she lived through that horrible situation, and God bless her for what she's trying to do to drop that. Red flag laws, basically, if you have a convicted felony, if, you have mental health issues. We heard that come up in the Texas thing. But how many times have these shooters, the Buffalo is another one that comes to mind, we could probably go on and on, where they've had mental health issues, they've had arrests, or they had drug charges or whatever, and they never should have been able to get a gun. Unfortunately, you can still buy illegal guns on the street, and people say, well, if we outlaw guns, well, here's the problem. We outlawed drugs about 50 years ago. How's that working out, right? Well, I mean, they're illegal to have drugs, but you can still buy them, and guns is a very similar situation. So they are out there on the street. I used to work in Australia, and they did a huge problem where they got rid of all the guns. And now I've been told by the AFP, Australian Federal Police colleagues of mine, that they have more guns now than they ever did when guns were legal. So I don't know what the answer is. And by the way, I'm apolitical. I've been an independent my entire life. So I'm not doing any party politics. But I just think that, we should enforce those red flag laws, the ones that give, I'm under the impression that the only person that's going to stop a bad person with a gun is a good person with a gun. Okay, I mean, that's just what I believe after almost 35 years of law enforcement. I don't think you can plead or talk your way out of somebody who has intentions of killing you or harming you seriously. So I think we just saw the other day where up in the mall, and was it Indianapolis? Yeah. So I mean, wow, thank God he was there, right? I mean, apparently it could have been so much worse, and I don't know all the details of that. But yeah, I'm under the impression that if you make the responsibility, the decision to get yourself a firearm, that you train yourself, you know how to use it, when to use it, and you keep it safe. And let me tell you this, I told every Carrick and Seal class, if you pull out that gun, just pulling it out, it's going to change your life. Your life is going to be different from that point on. Because, people can say, every phone in the place is going to be recording it right now. But, that you pull out a gun and you were waving it around, or you were threatening people, or if you, God forbid, you pulled that trigger. And even if you pulled that trigger in trying to do the right thing and shoot a bad person, but it goes through their shoulder and kills somebody innocent behind them, I told the Secret Service agents this, you own that bullet. If it leaves your gun, you own it. Whatever it does, you own it. So that's why making this decision to carry a firearm and use it is very, very critical, and you have to really think it through.
Thank you. Whitney wanted me to make one last comment on this. Because Kentucky does not have the law that our enforcement folks can go in and take a gun from someone that's either going to be harmful to themselves or to somebody else in a mental state that's not good. And we know guns are the biggest cause of suicides as well. So this is not just somebody going and shooting somebody, but somebody shooting themselves. It's all bad. She wondered that they're working very hard bipartisanly to bring this into Kentucky, and that she will need, when it gets down to it, need your help to talk to your legislatures in Frankfort. And I just want to remind you that Whitney, by choice, relives the worst moment of her day every day. And when bad things happen, like in Texas or in Buffalo, it really hits home. So with that, I really thank you, Greg, because what you gave me some wonderful pointers today on how to keep me and my family safe. And I appreciate everybody in here for the attentiveness. And I think Craig's got a question for you.
Greg, thank you for speaking with us today. Excuse me. My question has to do with your past history of serving protection detail with 5 presidents, and we all know that there was an attempt on President Reagan's life. Were there other instances or issues with the other 4 presidents that you protected that got a little perilous or scary, and maybe an anecdote or two of funny things that actually happened that at the time were scary, but afterwards everyone kind of got a kick out of it?
Thank you, Craig. You'll have to buy my book because they're all in my book. How's that for? I'm not even a marketing guy. No, actually, and listen, I don't badmouth any protectees for presidents. I've guarded, President Clinton and President Reagan and both Bushes, and I've been with President Carter and President Ford. I've been apolitical all my life. We had a softball shirt that says, "You elect them, we protect them, don't blame us." So, so I don't badmouth any of them. Yes, there's some very funny stories. There were some very critical situations. I don't think we have the time for it. From what I understand, you're on a pretty tight regimen here. But I'm happy to hang around here. Okay, all right. Green light. Okay.
One story?
One story.
I think everybody would enjoy hearing that.
Okay, so I'd say since that question, I was with President Clinton. We went to the Middle East around 2000, and ma'am, I'll get right to you in a second. And so we were over there, and while we were in Jerusalem, which is a fascinating city, of course, I love history and religion and going to see all the sites when I was off duty. President Clinton got invited by Yasser Arafat. Now this is going to go back to some people that are a little bit older that knew that Yasser Arafat, PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, was probably considered the #1 terrorist in the world around that time, around the year 2000. So while we're in Jerusalem, he just reaches out and invites President Clinton to come into PLO headquarters. Well, you can imagine the Secret Service thinking, "Oh, well, hey, what time out? Whoa. Let me check our insurance policies here." But President Clinton accepted. He saw it as a great opportunity. So we brought President Clinton into the PLO headquarters there. We drove our vehicles in, our armored motorcade, and he choppered in on helicopter with Air Force escorts, the whole bit. But in that culture, we were told that if you're invited into that culture by the head of state, that you got a pass. Nobody can touch you. And I was like, okay, well, I was hoping all those terrorists were paying attention in class that day. They weren't like me and scribbling pictures on my notebook. But so we went in there. We went in there, the whole boat, and we were supposed to leave before sunset. President Clinton enjoyed talking. I'll just be very nice about that. He talked well after sunset. So now we are very hyped up about being in the dark and being very vulnerable. And we happened to drive that motorcade about 3 or 4 miles to the Navy LZ that picked us up in their helicopters. So anyway, real quick, I'm trying to make it quick. So we're in a hurry. We're trying to get out of there. I was standing back with another agent with an automatic weapon protecting the rear of our motorcade. The last car in front of the police car was supposed to stop and let us in. The guy wasn't one of our drivers. He was scared to death. And he had sliding doors in the van. When he slowed down, both vans shut. He assumed we got in. He left us behind. And there we are, crossing the PLO headquarters at night with machine guns, looking like Americans. So, long story short, I'm sorry, we borrowed a car, so people might call it carjacking. I don't think I have a warrant out for me, but I could. I'm not going back to find out, but we borrowed a car, encouraged the driver very proficiently to go, and we got on the last helicopter out of there. So that's my story.
Hello, thank you so much. Obviously, you've been in a lot of precarious situations as part of your job. Is there a story from when you were just out as an average citizen where you found yourself in a situation like that?
I think because of all the training we went through and all the scenarios, and I was just taught to react. So you basically, something happens. I don't care, a car accident, a shooting, someone's hurt, a house was on fire, drove by one time. We're just taught to react, but we react in a calculated way, where we don't put ourselves or other people in jeopardy. So I think that training was very helpful. I think any first responder probably knows what I'm talking about. But the Secret Service is just training. We had our own make-believe White House or make-believe Air Force One. We had a whole town and village where people would be shooting at you and you had to react. You're on camera, how fast you can react properly. So I think all that training helps me pay off in civilian situations.
Let's give Greg a round of applause. Some of you all would like to ask him more questions. That probably spurred some ideas or thoughts you had. Greg will hang around, right, for a few minutes? Great, thank you. Next, we do want to award Greg with a $500 donation to our Rotary's West Louisville Housing Initiative. So on behalf of Rotary, I would like to thank you very much, Greg, for your presentation today, but more importantly, your dedication to our country and service your whole life. Thank you. Now back to the fun of our meeting. We have door prizes again, another ticket to the soccer game, and our speaker Greg is going to pull the winning ticket out. So get it out of your pocket and be ready.
What's your number, Patrick?
It's Patrick's. 809997. There we go. Doug Myers in the back is a winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Thank you, Greg. Just a couple more reminders here. We'll get you out. You all said to go on, and we did. Next week, we'll have Monique Kuykendall-Quarterman and Tori Woods discussing It Takes a Village, how Louisville's community jumpstarts startup development innovation. Next, your Rotary Board of Directors is holding a phone-a-text-a-thon, and anybody can ask me what that means, but you might get it. A phone-a-text-a-thon on Monday night from 5 to 7. So if you get a stray phone call at 5 o'clock on Monday night, you don't have to answer. You can be like me, since I don't know the number, you let it go to voicemail, and you'll learn that we want you here. We want you at our service projects. We want you at our events like the soccer game. And most importantly, we want you here at our meetings, because this is more fun when there's more folks in the room. Thank you to everybody that brought a guest. If you want to learn about what it takes to come into Rotary, Craig Sherman will be right over. Craig's in the back and he's moving up forward. And this meeting is adjourned.